This is Journeys of Empowerment, a space where we slow down enough to notice what shifts. Where founders and leaders speak honestly about the turning points that changed how they see themselves, their work, and the impact they want to have. I'm your host, Michiel Soetjiet. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to acknowledge our sponsor. Imagine this. You have rolled out the new process. The expectations are clear, and still adoption stalls. The behavior does not follow. Often, it's not the strategy that is missing. It's understanding what's actually reinforcing behavior in the day-to-day conversations between managers and the teams. Reinforcer.ai analyzes those everyday leadership conversations and show managers concretely what reinforced the right behavior, that missed the mark, and what to focus on next time. Built on proven behavioral science, it makes behavior change practical and measurable inside the flow of work. If you're curious what your daily feedback is truly reinforcing, you can explore reinforcer.ai. And now, let us turn toward today's guest. What if belonging is not something the world grants, but something you learn to carry within? In this episode, I sat down with Nina Aziz Justin, author of The Home Within, and someone who has lived between cultures, identities and expectations long enough to know that adaptation can look like strength, but also like survival. She grew up as a cultural chameleon, constantly adjusting, constantly reinventing. And then life stopped negotiating. When her youngest daughter was diagnosed with a rare genetic condition. Ambition could not solve it, drive could not fix it. What followed was a rupture between who she thought she was and what reality demanded. We explored self-belonging as a northern star, the tension between achievement and acceptance, pivoting through uncertainty, and what it means to practice amor fati, to love your fate instead of resisting it, not as a slogan, but as a daily reckoning. She said it quietly, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. This matters. You cannot come home to yourself using someone else's map. If life has reshaped your expectations, maybe this conversation meets you there. Let's walk into it. As ready as you can be. Nina, welcome to Journeys of Empowerment. I just pressed recording.
Is that recording?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Michiel. It's a pleasure to meet you in person after reading so much about you and seeing your work and seeing what you write about and also listening to all your other podcast episodes. So it's an honor to be here.
It's a mutual honor. Thank you very much. And especially we started, it's interesting, you've written a book, The Home Within, a soulful memoir of self-belonging across cultures and change. And that hit home. You sent it just a few weeks ago before we started to go in our pre-video conversation. And Nina, there's so much to unpack. And it's our mutual challenge because we can differ very fast into multiple topics. I want to do it a little differently. If we have one clear anchor for this conversation where we return back to and keep us as a sort of northern star, what would be your preferred northern star and anchor as an anchor?
Self-belonging.
All right. Self-belonging. That is beautiful. And also I decided for the podcast and coming podcast and also for now is that we start with a sort of definition of what do we belong, of what do we mean by belonging and self-belonging, because it's automatically we think the whole world has the same sort of definition and understanding and meaning to words, only to come to understand that we can differ so much, each and every one of us, for the same word, right? So, but first, to get you started about the future, who are you becoming?
Who am I becoming? I think I ultimately would love to be the most truthful version or expression of my own humanity. who I am, why I am alive. So who am I becoming? I believe I'm becoming a co-creator with life, with people like yourself, with everything that happens around me whenever they happen, to become the highest, the maximum, the most truthful version of my humanity, or expression of it at least. So I hope that's where I'm heading. Yes. Well, that's where I would like to go. Not hope. I would like to go there.
You would like to go there. And when you say, and where are you at the journey towards where you want to become?
I'm on the path of co-creation, right? It's a co-creation. I believe that my life, it's not only about me being in the seat. We have discussed this. We are Stoics. So there are things we can control, but most of the things we can't. So it's a process of co-creation. Everything that happens, I'm going to have to create from that. Good, bad, not so good. I have to create from there. So it's a co-creation path now. I think I didn't realize that until maybe I've gone through several different experiences to realize, hey, how do I turn this around? It's because I have co-created with whatever that was given to me. And I believe the future will always be that. It's going to be another, an ongoing process of co-creation. Where am I there? I am there. We are all there. I don't think it's unique to me. Yeah.
And when you say, what helps you on the path to understand that we are co-creating? Because you said it wasn't always like that.
What helped me?
Yeah.
I think, aren't we all co-creating? We are co-creating this right now, right?
Yeah.
Are we not? Isn't life a co-creation? You come from a man and a woman. That's the ultimate co-creation process. Who you are is a result of nature. Nurture is all co-creation. Nothing is accomplished only from your own ego of who you are, no matter what it is. And I think we are all, in my opinion, on that path of self-expression, of expressing really who you are, and finding your own map, because you can't use another person's map to get to who you are. It's your own map, right? And it's a journey of empowerment, as you said. It is a journey to come to your fullest, highest, most truthful expression of your life force. So I think that's what I've realized recently as I got older, not when I was 20, not when I was 30, but looking back, we can always connect the dots. And I'm like,
in hindsight,
okay, I got here because I did that with that, no matter what it was, and I did something with that. And that is a process of co-creation, isn't it?
No, but you mentioned that you had to, that in this stage of your life, you recognize that it's about co-creation, but it wasn't always that realization. So I was like, okay, when did you start realizing it's all about co-creating?
I'm a late developer. I think probably some other people realize it much sooner. And I think there are different ways of experiencing co-creation. And some people probably co-create all the time and gave it a different name. I think I've always known who I am, but I never really fully come into the state in which I am today to be able to articulate it in that way, right? Because we're busy with life. We live to seek for answers outside ourselves. We live to seek for our own value outside ourselves. We look for validation and all that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we now have experienced that to be able to experience the other side, right? I wasn't born searching to be a monk. So obviously I did not go high up in the chain of self-transcendence. No. I experienced a lot of stuff to be able to recognize, maybe, I need to look another way for that meaning, for that definition of success, happiness, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's, when did I recognize it? When did I learn that? I think it comes in phases. Yeah, it's not like one day you realize, oh, yes, this is the answer. No, it never happened like that. It's in small phases. Yeah. And life humbles you. And that's how you learn.
It's exactly that resonates with me. We both share a sort of love for the Stoic philosophy, and I'm in the middle of my reading challenge, reading the 8 books of Ryan Holiday, and I'm now in the book the Ego is the Enemy, and there were 2 questions, and I added a third one, and I took upon myself, and I started today, a writing challenge, 365 days in a year, because next year I'm going to do the same book challenge, so 8 books in a row, because it helps me calibrate. Yeah, these same books. So, I'm reading a book per week, but these same books, in the first quarter of 2027, I will read them again.
Cool.
And so, but the 3 questions I have, and I'm going to write them down each day after 15 minutes of meditation, are very simple, yet simple, not to be confused by easy. So who do I want to become? Which path will I take? And how do I stay humble along the way? And staying humble is a sort of challenging one. And while reading The Ego is the Enemy, I believe everyone should read that book, because in the end, ego is part of us, and we have to recognize when is our ego at play. And what I've for years, for decades, misunderstood for self-confidence was seeking and getting a lot of validation and recognition. And along that path. So when you say, life is humbling you. Yes, I fully agree. Over time, I recognize that life is humbling, because I feel much more self-confident, but far less about. It's about validation, recognition, and hunting for those kind of things.
It's the structure of our society, right? Also, that does not help. But,
What do you mean?
Well, it's just how things are. I mean, we all have to, we don't have to, but it is normal to flaunt. Because if you don't flaunt, then you don't prove your worthiness, right, somehow. And we need to go through that, because I believe there is a lot of science in this as well. It's not just philosophy, right? It's not just spirituality. No. There's also science. So if we want to look at a model that some people might call a Western model, but I believe it's a universal model. Maslow. Yeah. Pyramid of needs, right? Yeah. And some of these seeking for external validation is actually survival. And it's normalized also. Show off, do this, do that. Then you can show to people that you have done this and that and the other, and then they will trust you, and you can create more, because it's the same principle as success breeds success and money breeds money. So you fake it till you make it, and then you fake your success, and then you can create a success from that, because that it's all these things. And I'm not going to judge it as good or bad, but I do think that being aware of that, and that we can all somehow get sucked into it too, and probably I do too, makes it harder for us to really come back to, in my case, because I want to be somebody that is not like that. So it can be harder for me. I'm just pulling myself away from that, right? But we are all a part of the system. We all fit into it. We are all playing that game. It's hard, but that's also apart from the fact that it is how it is. It's also human to do that, right?
Do you believe in that it is like it is, or do you believe in we as humanity can find and figure out ways to, let's say, make life less about validation? No, we can, but then we have to be. We have to let go of other needs, because we have to be a monk, or in India, there's something. Sadvik, are they called Sadvik? I don't know.
Sure. The ones who they don't need anything. When you don't need anything, you don't have to prove anything as well, because it's part of the duality. We can't also just... I think it's an important drive and an important propeller for innovation in a way. But once you have come to that point, once you've reached that point, then you can transcend it. Then you don't need it. It's the paradox of life. You work throughout your life to accumulate so much, and at some point they all mean nothing, right? Because then you reach a point where those things will no longer feed your higher needs. So it's a process. So I think sometimes, when people are doing stuff that you may not agree with, they're somewhere at a different point in their journey. And I think we don't have to judge it, as long as you don't get too much sucked into it. Because I have the tendency too, that sometimes I'm also, for survival, I'm also playing the game.
And playing the game, if we have to be specific also for the audience, what do you mean by playing the game? What are you then playing?
Okay, for example, if everybody is dressed in a certain way, sometimes I feel I have to also dress that way, because I don't want to be the odd one out, right? It's a survival thing. And sometimes I don't always consciously decide to do that. It's subconscious. I just do it. And we all do things like that. I think it's quite normal. And especially in business, we all want to be part of the success group. We all want to be seen as high achievers. It's a survival.
It is human.
Yeah, it's human.
And it's part of our sense of belonging and trying to fit in.
Yes.
How do you want to be seen?
Oh my God.
In order to be happy?
If I think about how I would like to be seen, I am playing that game. Because I'm looking for the reaction outside myself. Maybe I've spent a lot of time doing that before, but right now I'm trying to cut myself off from that. I do not ask how other people see me. I just go with how I feel centered in myself. So right now, if you think, I don't like that color you're wearing, I like it. It's okay. It's too bad.
No, I believe I would love to share that feeling to a broader audience that we...
It's the ultimate liberation.
Yeah.
Well, it's also... it also took me a long time to get there, yeah. So if someone else is not there yet, it's okay, You will get there at some point.
How?
Experience, isn't it? Isn't like it's
what works
you
for you?
are a
What
stoic.
works for you?
You are a stoic.
No, but it's not about me.
You understand the concept of amor fati.
Yes.
Right? It's amor fati. It's not. It's the love for your own fate. It is not about acceptance. It's not about surrender. It's not about accepting it reluctantly. No, it is what it is. It's the radical ownership of what had happened to you and owning it and loving it actually. And through that, only through that, you can somehow arrive at a place where you can be free of this need to be anything else but what life had given you, right? So that's just how it is.
Is this learnable?
Yes, of course. If I can learn it, everyone can learn it. I don't think I'm that special.
No, but I think it's one of the big questions in life, right? In order to reach that point that we feel very okay with our being and who we are. It's a big quest of life, or not?
What is the biggest question of life? Is there God, maybe, is the biggest question of life. But being yourself and who you are, I think if we think it's the biggest question, it will become the biggest question. I think it's not such a big question.
What is for you the biggest question?
Is there God? Yeah, maybe that, is there God? That would be the biggest question, because then we can have a conversation about it later. And I hope there is God. I will meet God and I will ask why. Right?
Wow. Why? Why what?
Why all this suffering, right? All this suffering. Because, we've been raised, not just me, I think, to avoid suffering, but accept mortality. We know we are not going to come out of this alive, but we are avoiding.
Memento mori.
Exactly. We avoid suffering, and that's why people don't really get to the point where they can maybe truly embrace. I've gone through a lot of stuff, so most of them I didn't choose. No. So I'm not any special, right? It's more because I didn't choose them. I have to get through them. Therefore, I get to where I am today. And I am now, looking back, I'm grateful for that. So I couldn't avoid the suffering. But many people live their lives to avoid suffering. And they spend a lot of time avoiding suffering. So I don't know. I don't have the magic wand to tell you how are they going to get to the point where they're going to accept everything, including themselves, the best possible way. No, because if you avoid suffering, how are you going to even get there?
No.
It's
but
painful to look at yourself, right?
It is. What is what is the most painful part of yourself? Looking from your perspective to yourself.
Oh my God!
Yes, journeys of empowerment.
Oh yes. Oh my God! Where do I start? Very often it's the same thing that I like about myself as well. I would say, I'm very driven, so that's something I really need to look at. I'm extremely driven since I was little. It's the thing that got me where I am today. But at the same time, I'm like, but why are you doing that? It's also very painful because I think it's the very thing that I love about myself are also the same things that can hurt me very much. One thing I've learned, I can be driven, but I cannot control the outcome. That second part, I learned later through life. Life trained me for that. But in the beginning, I think, I'm not sure if it's cultural, but I definitely grew up thinking, if I work hard, I will achieve this. If I do this, I will not have that problem. If I, there were all sorts of kind of almost formulated ideas that were actually toxic.
If then. It's very conditional also. Very conditional sort of way. I recognize that. So I've grown up very conditional love. Everything was conditional. I left parental home when I was 13, started planning when I was 12 and kept my word. Age 13, I left parental home and never returned. But then all of a sudden, I made it myself conditional. If I succeed, if I'm earning a lot of money, if this, if then. Only to find out that it will never bring you the fulfillment you're trying to. It's all about achievement and less about fulfillment. So what helped you to? Well, see that from a different perspective or slightly alter that or navigate through life and being okay with that you are very driven, but steer away from the maybe also potential downside.
I am driven, but then I can still have no result, or I can still have what I didn't want, or things can happen to me. They are not connected. So, I can enjoy being driven, but the outcome, obviously I have also done amazing things, but it is fortuna, it is what it is. And this part I learned later. And the catalyst for that was really the condition of my smallest daughter. So for me, my youngest daughter is my guru. She came here to teach me that. And it's very humbling. It's very painful. It's probably one of the most painful experiences I've ever had. Because I cannot do anything about it. Nothing. So it's totally an opportunity for amor fati, the love of my fate, to love it and to say, it's okay. I can co-create from this as well and redefine things. And it doesn't define me. I can redefine what's truly important for me. What's happiness? What's success? Who am I? And everything else becomes less important, actually, after that.
You mentioned 3 things in a row before we dive into the diagnosis and how it changed life and your perspective on it. But you've mentioned the 3 things. So first, who are you now? We find it very difficult, me included, to explain, okay, but who are you? What do we need to know about you in order to right away get to know you?
Personally, I'm a student. I'm a student of life. I've said this many times when people call me to speak at podcasts or to run workshops. I'm still learning. I'm not finished. I will never be finished, right? So yeah, I'm a student of life forever. I'm a student of myself and my relationship with life. I'm trying to co-create with life because, I have to keep finding what I haven't found yet inside me. I think most of the time we already have it all, right? It's like a treasure box we have to sort through. And only when you need the tool, you will go and search for it, right? But hopefully you don't only just have a hammer, because then everything starts to look like a nail. It's like, I don't have the solution. Let's just hammer it down, which can be the case, right? But I don't think so. I think most human beings are amazing.
Student.
Yes,
you are a student.
I am a student.
It's interesting. If you look me up at LinkedIn, you will see eternal student, host, and mentor.
Oh my God, I didn't see that. So
I
was
just changed it today.
To copy you, okay?
I just changed it today. So my honesty forced me that I always feel like an infinite student. But then I looked up what is the difference between infinite and eternal. And there's a difference. And so eternal is more human driven, and infinite is more technical and mathematical driven. I was like, okay, let's do the eternal student. Host, obviously, and mentor for startups and scale-ups and so forth and so on, and especially for founders and leaders. I would really love to guide them to pursue life with more clarity, direction, and alignment. That's what I love to do. And but eternal student. And when it comes to the definition, you also mentioned 3 points, and the second point was success. What is your definition of success at this moment? In this stage of your life?
I've to live with the most truthful expression of my humanity, who I am as a human being. Truthfully, not hiding who I really am inside, the life force. I think that's something that I'm really working on. It's not like I'm not a finished job. I'm still learning, okay, sometimes I feel like this. That's because there is this life force, and that's the same life force that made me driven. That's the same life force which had helped me go through all the difficult, complex situations I've gone through in my life. That is the same life force, right? Which we have to honor. But at the same time, we must not get it so big that it starts to control your mind. You think you're so special, you become arrogant because your life force is so amazing. Everyone has it. And also it's a practice. I want to accept that it's a practice. You have to train yourself to honor this life force. And that's where I am now. I'm not always like this, I have also been a party girl, and I think till about 10 years ago, my daughter is now 11, I would still party really hard. And not saying that is wrong, but I did not spend enough time looking at myself the way I am now. And that's why I think my daughter is my ultimate guru, because I was literally put on that path, right? Because if it was me who was supposed to go search for it, maybe it might take longer, or maybe I would have not searched for it. If life was as I wanted it to be, you know, we were in control of everything and we think we've achieved a lot and you're like young and this and that, you know, I don't know. And then boom, you know. And I think having to love life as it is and see that, hey, this is something that is good for me when you don't want it is hard. And you can't really get out of it, because my daughter has this, if I can
yes, please do so. Because
she has a rare condition. When she was diagnosed, she was 1 in 21 in the world.
Wow.
Right? And so it's not a condition that even the doctors understand very well. It's a condition called TRP12. And we just knew there was something different about her. TRP12, yes. Okay. There is a mutation in her gene number 12, but we didn't know that. We just could see from the outside that she wasn't developing like other neurotypical children. And I instinctively knew it when she was 4 months old, but no one believed me. And that's also why in my book, I address the topic of sacred intuition. We have it in us, you know. And as a mother, I saw that my daughter was moving differently. It was a very small movement. She was moving her wrists in a different way. And I told my husband, I said, I think there is something different about the baby. And of course, he was not going to pay attention to that. But he looked at me, and I think he realized that I wasn't making it up. So he cried. And I've never seen my husband cry, but he just cried. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's nothing so serious, you know. And I took her to the GGD, and we spoke about it, and they did all the tests, and they were like, nothing is wrong. Maybe she's just delayed, or maybe it's a peculiarity, it's a character, it's a trait, so on. But then at 1, she never turned, she didn't really react with me or to me for a while. And then we went through a lot of tests, brain scans and so on. So they ruled out some things which were more serious, because they thought that she could have like a missing part of the brain or something. Then eventually they noticed that the brain wasn't developing the way it should be, but they didn't know the cause. So then the whole journey with all the testing and so on went on for 2.5 years. We were all tested. So that was difficult, because you live in the unknown. And, you know, I've always been ambitious. I've always loved my job. My creative life force wanted to build companies, make a lot of money, continue to party hard, be a mom, be a wife, do it all. But I couldn't, because I was really lost, right? I was lost. And I think now if anything like that happens, I will not feel as lost anymore. But at the time, it was the first time that I felt lost. I was totally out of my comfort zone. I didn't know anything. Nobody could help me, nor the doctors, nor anyone. My husband lives in his own kind of world where he coped with it totally differently than I did. I'm a person I'm like action, you know, call every doctor, read every book, read every research paper, try to find out what's happening in other countries. Where are the other 20 other children with this condition? And I went on this action mode, trying to solve everything and put the puzzles together. But as we know it now, you can't. And then you look at your child, you feel guilty. I started to blame myself. What did I eat during the pregnancy? Did I don't know, did I not take enough vitamins? I don't know. I racked my brain searching for reasons and answers for why this was happening.
There are reasons to blame yourself.
Yeah, I have never been a big person for blame. I believe we should not live in a culture of blame.
No.
But somehow, because I'm the mother and I carried her into the world, she was in my physical body, I thought it was me. So I felt terrible, really, really bad, really bad. Because I thought, oh, I caused this, how? And obviously I come from a Muslim family as well. And there's a lot, I'm not saying that this is the case for Islam, and I'm not saying this is the case for every Muslim. But when I was younger, there was always this, I have to be very careful with what word I use, but it's not an ideology, but it is a suggestion that God punishes you, right? God will get angry at you. God will punish you. So there was this thing that I inherited also from my childhood and my culture and the way I was raised, maybe traditionally as well, that I was being punished for partying because I did party. I loved party, I was, work hard, play hard kind of girl. So I felt like, I was being punished. I was angry. I was sad. It was just enormous. It was terrible. And at the same time, I felt lost because my identity as this very highly driven woman that I thought I was could not find its place. I'm in a new place. What am I what am I trying to do now? I'm a mom, right? And this is my child, and my child needs me. And my husband was very sad, so he worked a lot. He didn't want to talk about it. He coped with, it's going to be okay. The doctors may have made a mistake. This could, sometimes they say that, but then they made a mistake and everything's going to be fine. So there are different ways of coping with it.
Sort of the stage of denial.
Yes, he was in the denial part longer than I was. I accepted it, but I didn't accept this as final. I was like, there must be something we can do, and I learned the whole system, the whole Dutch hospital or healthcare system. Who are we supposed to talk to? How are we going to get there? I kept asking for all sorts of tests. We were at the hospital every week. I had more costs for parking than Albert Heijn weekly food shopping, okay? Because I asked for every single test. But every single test means that I have to see my child go through, machines, needles, whatever. And I have to watch that. And I'm subjecting myself to also the visual violence in my case, because I have to control my own emotions. And it was really bad. But actually, I love my husband and he's a really good team player. But at the time, I did it alone. He was not a part of it. I did it all alone. I was like taking my kid to the hospital alone. 3 times a week for like a year and a half.
What kept you sane? And what prevented you to lose your mind?
Probably I lost my mind. Probably I did, but not the way other people think of losing their mind. I'm sure I have been very different, in the manifestation of my drive, because I'm very driven, right? And I took it like,
are you driven?
This is the way, if I keep going, if I keep pushing, I will break through, right? But you can only break through if you break something, and sometimes you break yourself, right? Everybody wants that breakthrough, but do they understand what it takes to break through? It's you get broken. I was broken. I was broken for a long time, and people think, oh, you look fine.
Yeah, it's on the outside.
Yeah, but I was in survival mode. You can be a highly functioning person because you are surviving. It doesn't mean that you are above it. So I have been on a highly functional survival mode for years, because I thought I caused this. It was my fault. I can fix this. Or if I couldn't really fix it, I can mitigate it. I can make it better, And I put it on me, right? I put it on me. And it's hard. It's hard. I don't want this to be only about all the sufferings.
We won't.
But,
no, it's more about admiration.
The beautiful thing about that is when you are broken and you have no choice Because of my children, I cannot be like, I don't know, I'm just going to lie down in bed. No, I couldn't. I didn't have that choice. I just have to keep going, right? And so I think I kind of neglected my own ambitions for a while. Maybe 7 years. And I stopped crying after 7 years, maybe. But before that, I would cry every day. And now I still sometimes have a little bit of sadness, but it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm not sad for the reasons that we couldn't have the life we thought we were creating, you know?
What is the biggest shift in those 7 years you can now feel and see, looking back and connecting the dots? What's the biggest shift?
Mentally, or like you mean mindset wise, or? Well, you know, I think I met myself and I met life. I think there was a meeting of me and life, right? And obviously I realized I was not very well equipped for certain things. And I still am realizing that. I think I could be better equipped for it now. But at the time, you know, you have your idea, oh, if I do this, I'm going to have this amazing family. It's going to be beautiful. My children are this or that. Forget it. Other people can say, oh, my kid is going to do ballet. My kid can't do ballet. My kid can't swim. My kid can't ride bicycle. My kid will never go. When the doctor said to us, she will never read nor write. Me, being the driven person that I am, she was 3 years old. Well, she will. I will teach her, right? Or I will find a way. But you have to accept. You have to accept. And that is hard, really hard, because you love this person so much, right? And you can't give it. You can't. You just have to embrace them as they are. And my daughter doesn't even know that this is causing me pain, because she doesn't know that. She's just who she is. And I think, then I have to be happy for her that she is who she is and that she's very happy. She's very happy with life as it is, you know. She doesn't have the dreams like her mother, like, oh, I'm going to build a company. I mean, she's just chill. She's just fine. She doesn't need to do that. Zero expectations. Isn't that a wonderful guru? Zero expectation. Just be. Yeah. So I learned it the hard way. Yeah. A very harsh lesson. Maybe I deserve it. Maybe I don't deserve it. But I'm going to love it. Amor fati. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love my fate. And that's what I decided. And that's why I'm still here. And that's why I'm not going to say I'm not broken. I am broken, but I've put myself back together. Right? I'm in another shape, maybe, you know, and I'm also a big fan of Zen philosophy. Yes. And I wrote about it in my book about Kintsugi, you know, you kind of like, you let the goal fill the gaps. And somehow I'm like, okay, this is how I am. I cannot go back and I don't know the future, but this is it. And that's how it is. It's very painful. It's still a very difficult topic. And we, you know, in our marriage, we have to find each other again in it, you know.
It's a stress test number 1, right?
Yeah, but I give it to my husband. He said, Nina, listen, we will be together until we die. I love you. Because sometimes when I'm so mad, you know, I don't know who to be upset with. I can also sometimes be upset with him. Mm-hmm. You know, of course, I'm not perfect. But he is like a rock. He's like a rock. And he's like, I'm not changing. This part will be like this forever. And I hope he is right. You know, because obviously it takes two, right? So if he insists, then all right, I'll go with it. But yeah, it helps a lot to have someone who's very, very clear about one thing.
Rock solid.
Yeah, on that.
Grounded.
In that part, he's not moving, right? I was crying a lot. I was really upset with life and angry with life. Like, why does it happen to us? You know, it's not fair. You know, why us? But now, you know, I think that thankfully it's us. We get to learn to love really, really well, I think. Yeah.
With all your drivenness, what centers you?
Boy, this is a very deep question. What centers me? Meaning. I think meaning. Yeah, because the Amor Fati part is like the first part of, I think, resilience. Because I think the opposite of resilience is not weakness, but it is resistance to reality. So I accept that in every situation, right? And the second part is I actually believe there is so much meaning in life. There is a meaning. Like, not a meaning like I'm looking for a meaning for life. No, but everything is meaningful. So for that, I think it puts me together. It anchors me. Like, it's meaningful. And the third part is I believe all the answers are already within us all. So it's not going to be what you expect, but it's a process of discovery. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this resonates deeply. This is exactly what I also believe in, and also trying to guide and help also my clients with the coaching I do, is that I fundamentally believe that all the real answers to the real questions we have are already inside of us. And it's up to us to figure a way. And for some it's traveling, for some it's this, for some it's that. It's life critical events which are happening that all of a sudden we discover a lot of depth, more depth inside of us, and the more and answers inside of us, instead of chasing and traveling the whole world and chasing goals and objectives and key results and accolades and everything to discover, but this is not the meaning of my life. Look inside, look inward.
Yeah, I think, but you can only achieve that if you've taken care of the externals also, the survival in this world, right? It's Maslow, right?
Yeah, it is.
You need, and you know, also when I say meaning, it's like I matter, I matter. So there is the meaning. Like sometimes you say, well, why is this happening? Well, because you matter, so don't give up on you,
And what do you mean? It's very easy to say, yeah, of course we matter. What do we mean, and what do you mean by saying I matter?
I hope I can say that at least a few people will feel a hole in their life if I leave, if I die, or not if, when I die. I matter, I matter, my life matter. And I think this is important, whether you are, however you are, whatever you do, you matter. If you feel you matter, you can go through quite a bit of challenges, right? It's not it's not rocket science. A lot of it is pretty basic, I think. But we forget that often because we think we only matter when other people tell us that we matter, but we also matter to ourselves. And I think we are not kind enough sometimes to ourselves. I'm saying this because I've gone through that process when I beat myself up like crazy. Like I dislike me. I mean, I even say, like, maybe because I, obviously, part of it is also cultural conditioning, thinking that I was being punished for something I did. But I can't change my past. And like something's like, I don't pray 5 times a day, or I didn't do Ramadan, and therefore I'm being punished now. And I have thought that, funnily enough, because you're given a formula, you're given a structure of what is good, what is bad, what is a human being that is superlative and can go to heaven or whatever. And now you feel like your life is in, like, at least I thought I was in hell, and now my kid is subjected to it too because of me. And yeah, of course, all these things. So I think I needed to take it all out, unpack it, look at it and say, no, this is not true. This is not how I should see myself. This is not how I should see my life, because I matter. I'm also human. I'm also learning from it. It's a process that was not straightforward. And now, like the book is a process of self-inquiry. It's a universal book that I wrote through my personal experience. And I think that helps a lot. And I think it's a good journey of self-reflection. And I think
it's a memoir, it's a journal. It's really all about your lived experience condensed in one book.
Yeah, I think I wanted to address the different themes of like self-belonging, you know, of owning yourself, of radical ownership. Radical, good, bad, ugly, your past, you may not be proud of it, whatever, your ignorance for something deeper at this moment, but owning it, just saying, it's good, I'm going to own it.
IPU.
What is that?
Intellectual property U.
Correct.
Right?
You own it. And I think you can't...
You are the author of your own life, right?
Exactly.
So then, and IP occurs when you start writing. So
yeah, and we can't come to ourselves using somebody else's map, right? You can't. And nobody can give you a map. You have to do this, and it's your choice. And I hope every single one of us will have, hopefully not too painful a journey, but we'll have this map figured out. I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and there were times when I thought it was too much. Yeah, I have had moments when I said, God, stop this, please. No more. I can't take it anymore. Which is so dramatic because now I've survived it. I'm like, come on, don't be, you know, it wasn't
it's
so
always
bad.
In hindsight, eh? It's
It
always in
wasn't
hindsight.
so bad, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can connect the dots backward.
Yeah. And before we dive into your book and the reason of writing, the self-inquiry, I can't even imagine what you've gone through, and still, and also we have to acknowledge each and every one of us that we are work in progress for the rest of our lives. Luckily, because I love that. We love learning, right? So it's
amazing.
It would be boring, right? If we say, now I'm there. That would be boring, knowing that we probably lived 30, 40 years longer and then we are already there. That would be really boring, right? But how all these feelings, and also feeling, although having a rock as a husband, life partner, but that feeling of loneliness and that feeling of, I can't resist the thought that it might be very depressing.
Of course. It was very depressing. And it can still be depressing if you want to think about it too much. And I think what I have definitely done is to train my brain. I've trained my brain to see the beauty in it. I know it sounds so like, oh, wow, that's fluffy, you know, how can you search for beauty? But
I do believe, and I believe my audience will think, okay, and how does it work for you?
You know, as I said, like, I chose to see the beauty in simplicity. We are limited. My husband and I became, and also my big daughter, not just to us, we talk a lot about how we feel as parents, but it also happened to my big daughter.
How old is she now?
20.
20.
She's 20. And she has a sister who is a special needs child. And we had to explain to her, because before her sister was born, she had plans. She was waiting for her sister to come, and she's like, yes, I'm no longer the only person at school who does not have a sibling, because everyone has an older brother, older sister, or half sister, half brother, you know. And I was always alone. And now I am a big sister. And she was so proud of that. And she made a box before her sister was born with all the different things she would like to do with her sister one day, including go to Disneyland. I'll take you to Disneyland. Mama and Papa, they don't have to come, just us girly trips and all this kind of stuff, because there are 9 years difference between the children. But obviously this is, well, they can still go to Disneyland, but it's going to be very complex. And I remember when my little daughter was diagnosed, my big daughter did a presentation at school about her sister's condition.
Wow.
And all her friends came, like they did it in a group about rare disease, rare condition. And her friends all came to look at my small daughter, and they were like, "Oh, zij is schattig, so cute." And she was so cute. And I think they were 12, 13. They were like the first year at middelbare school.
Yeah.
And now when I look back, I was like, yo, she was processing it. And I was so deep in my sadness, I didn't realize that, and that's also a very painful thing as a human being, not just as a mother, knowing that you're so busy with your own sadness that you can't see that other people are also affected. They are also processing it, because my big daughter probably realized that mommy is busy with this topic. What does it actually mean? So she's doing her thing, her own processing. She didn't appear to be sad. She was very proud to explain all this, genetic mutation that her sister has, because it's not in me, it's not in my husband, it's only in her, de novo. It's like nature, freak of nature kind of situation. And it happened to her too. And she probably will remember. We haven't actually spoken about this, and probably one day she will listen to this podcast. And I now am quite aware of that. And I think, she's 20, she's living her 20-year-old life, and this is not, it's too deep, like too much, too philosophical. But your podcast will remain in its digital format for a long time, so she can access it. And now I realize, wow, she probably grew up in a household where the mom was sad. And I thought I was normal. I didn't want to show it to her, but come on. When people are sad, they are sad. Even if they toughen up, and even if they act, I was a very highly functional, sad person, very sad person. Yeah. But highly functional nonetheless.
I can't escape the question in my head I have for now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, how far are you in the process of forgiving yourself?
I forgive myself for all the things I didn't know at the time. I sometimes feel very guilty for not being aware of how I may have become not the perfect mother for my big daughter. She has never said that to me. Never. But I'm like, wow, because I listen to other people speaking about their experience because they have a brother or a sister with Down. And I was like, wow, I didn't think of her because I was so absorbed in my sadness, and my husband was absorbed in his sadness. And we have to continue to live our lives in parallel to normal lives. And she's a teenager. And my God, I didn't think about that. And that's what I now realize. And I'm like, she looked fine. She was doing her teenage life fine. But is that really fine? And I think sometimes, okay, now with all due respect, my daughter has her own life force. I can't protect her from life. But what happened is not only to Isabel, my little daughter, it happened also to Camilla, the big daughter, and it happened to all of us. And along the way, there are all these kind of wreckage also, some friendships broke apart. Situational. And I don't know how to explain. And when you are going through it, you can never really be fully aware of what you have or what you were going through at the time. And I think now looking back, if it was somebody else, wow, I would hug myself. But at the time, I was not giving myself a hug. Definitely not. But now I would give the old Nina, that version, a very big hug. Because oh my God, it was hard. It is still hard now. But I learned to carry it, I learned to carry it. At the time, I don't know how big is the weight, how much pain will still come my way. And it's very confronting. It can be very confronting in some situations. Like if I meet another friend of mine whose daughter was born just a few weeks after mine, and the children are so different, you know, and my daughter has she has a disharmonic profile. So there are certain things which are very advanced, and there are certain things which keep regressing. Like you teach her one skill and then she loses it. Like she lost her speech completely when she started becoming more motoric. So she's quite physical. She's very fit. She can, you know, walk 10 kilometers per day, no problem. But it's just her condition, and it's very difficult for us to explain too, because even the medical community can't explain and can't give us the answers.
No, with only 21 in the world.
Yeah, now I think there are more. Because
is it also because of the rarity of the... Is the condition or it's a condition?
It's a condition. Yeah, it's not a disease.
No, I didn't want to name that as a condition.
Yeah.
So that's why my doubt was. I was like, no, it's not a disease. It's a condition.
Yeah.
And it's a different weaving of our genetics, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
and because of the rarity, it isn't where the money flows when it comes to research, right?
Correct.
That's a frustration.
So searching for school is really difficult because the Netherlands, the special needs system here is different. Like you have cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, and is blind, mute, hearing issues, and behavioral problems. And she's just not developing at the same speed as everyone else. She's also at any given time only one part of her brain can deal with the growth. So if she's growing, then she can't do other things. So, you know, and we have stopped obsessing also about progress. We are now focusing more about harmony, whether we can live in harmony, whether we focus more about what we can do together, what she can do, rather than what we can't do and what she can't do.
So focusing on what you can control instead of what is out of your control.
Another stoic approach. And also embracing what we can do really, really well, like really enjoying it in the small details, the small things, you know, and celebrating little wins, and not necessarily always have to celebrate big stuff, and being okay with not being invited to birthday parties. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, it's okay too. And it's not nice, but actually when you think about it, so what, you know, you are now freer also of all this kind of sharing of energy and exchanges of energy. And
expectations and obligations.
Yes, and that is a gift. That is also a gift, isn't it?
Right, it triggers something else. Yeah, it is. And what it triggers something else. It triggers the question, what do you believe society needs to learn and to understand about parents navigating through life, figuring out how to navigate with a young child who has maybe a developmental challenge. How do you think, what do you want to advise society about that? Because I can imagine that, of course I read your book and I saw the examples and I was like, oh, plaatsvervangende schaamte. It's really like, how do you say that in English? Embarrassing, the reactions and the sort of mini exclusions and the birthday parties where not invited anymore.
People don't want to be mean. Actually, I think most people are kind.
But what do we have to become aware of?
They have different priorities.
Yeah, but what do we as society become a little bit more? If you have a magic wand and you can help society to understand, what do we have to become more aware about to also opening up? And
I think a lot of people want to give solutions, and I think that added the pressure on me. I'm not sure everyone will react the same way. For me, when people start to give me solutions. Like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Trust me, I think about it day and night, right, for solutions, right? So don't ask, because you feel that they're questioning whether you're doing enough. Maybe other people also don't mind it, but because I'm so much about productivity and achievements, I, of course, am working on overdrive on this subject, right? So I felt I could never, ever, ever do enough. It is not how they meant it. It's just how I felt it. So that was my biggest challenge. My husband cut himself off completely. He didn't even speak to too many people. He had absolutely no social life. He lived in his own bubble for a while. And I think when this happens, a lot of parents or families are actually sad, searching for their ways through it. It's heavy for them. So just be aware that while everyone has their own battle, and many people also who don't have special needs children have that, a little kindness can go a long way. You know? Kindness. I think that being gentle, and I'm still telling most people this, we are tough people because we are fighters and warriors, but there's always the option of being gentle. Just be gentle. And being not invited to birthday parties and so on, this has something to do with how our society has evolved. Everything is Instagrammable. You have to have a very beautiful event. Everything must be perfect. And that is something that I'm happy not to be a part of anymore, because
exhausting.
Whenever you invite us, it's never going to be perfect, okay? We are arriving with the kid who is the weird child. So we are going to spoil that perfect image that some people want to create. And I think they are there in their journey, and that's okay. And in the past, it used to make me really sad. But now I'm like, okay, that's where you are. I'm not there anymore. I'm not on that path. And it's lonely where we are, because we become, also now we are selected and we are selective. Also, some people who chose to stay with us and be part of our lives, they are amazing people. So I have enormous respect for people who choose to work also in this line of work, because there's not enough money being poured into it. These people are not driven by money. They are not driven by the stuff that I'm driven by, and they're there to help me, to help people like me. And so I think everyone has a role in this world. They bring something special, and that's why I think everybody matters. And when I see these, like the teachers who work with my daughter, and how patient they are and how accommodating they are, and that when I come and I've been crying, and then they look at me and they know you've been crying, and they're like, alles goed, Nina, it matters, because you feel seen. You know that they understand your journey. And other parents who are going through this, many are very sad. And the sad part also, 90% of families in the special needs school or special needs community, they are broken. They are broken by it, because there's so much sadness. It's heavy, and life is already hard, and you have to learn to carry it, So that's why I'm very lucky I have a good husband. And I think this is still, I don't know who said it, but one of the biggest decisions you can make in your life is who you share your life with, right?
It is.
Yes, so I think I am so lucky. I'm so lucky. I couldn't have done this with anyone else. It's just my husband. He's so stubborn that he says, no, we're not going to get divorced. I stick by you. So that's a blessing for me.
That's the real stoic, right?
Yes. Because I think I can be, I'm sure I wasn't very easy, because I cried so much, and sometimes I'm just so hard on myself, and it's hard to live with someone like that, right? People don't see it on the outside, but I was like that. It took me years. Yeah.
Wow, so, Nina. Boom.
Yeah. Is this podcast not going to be so heavy? Everybody's going to cry. No, don't cry.
It's about life.
Story.
It's a good story, and it's your story, and
it is.
It's about turning it around, and I hear so much growth, personal growth, as a family. Yeah. I hear also that you are very hard on yourself.
Yes,
So
very.
Yes,
That's what I
don't
said
be proud.
to you.
Don't be proud. Don't
No,
be
I'm
proud
not proud
of
of that. I said to you, you asked me what are the things that you think is difficult, or I can't remember exactly the question, but I said I'm driven. And I think when you are driven, that is the other side of it. You can reap the benefit of being driven when things are going well for you. But when things are not going well for you, it's the same. It's the same life force that's going to be there, and you're going to see it in another light. It is still you. So now I'm learning this is also me. And I have to also love the part of me that is hard, because
it's a different side of the same coin, right?
Correct. Yeah. And I've learned to love that. I cannot change so much. I have to acknowledge that. And now I know, Nina, you are hard on yourself. And I feel responsible for so many things. And I know now why. I know now why too. Because it is not something that yes, there is this life force inside you, but there's also something that you've conditioned yourself to be. And this is something that I carry since I was young. I mean, sure, you and many other people can identify one trait that is your winning trait, but that's the same one that's going to dig very deep when things are going to go in another direction. And then you will, at least in my case, I've traced it all the way down to since I was young. It's my tool. It's that hammer, in the toolbox.
And the nails are everywhere.
I try to now diversify my tools. I need to have new tools. Time for new tools. Yes.
Hey, before we dive into the last part and we dive into the book, I have one last question, and it is: how easy is it for you to ask and receive help?
It was not easy for a long time, but now I welcome it. Yes, I welcome it very much. I think if you cannot receive help, you cannot receive love. And it's a reflection of how much you think you deserve it. I believe... because I said I tried to trace it down. I think this drivenness also is a survival power in me. It has brought me quite far, and it's useful. But you need to learn also to change and to be, gentleness is another thing I'm working on. Being gentle with myself, being gentle with other people, being gentle with situations. Just take it easy. And then there's this other side, that I just mentioned. So working on it, being able to receive love, so I can love me better, right? And
what a journey! What a journey!
But I think it sounds like, oh yeah, you're so unique or something. No, I think everybody needs to learn to receive love properly.
It's very universal. It's very universal. Yet, it's very unique how we approach life and how we navigate through the difficulties, the challenges, the setbacks, the breakthroughs, the pivotal moments, the inflection points, whatever we call it. But I truly admire you and appreciate also your openness and willingness to talk about it. And I have a few parents in my mind who are listening right now. They better shoot because they are my friends. So no pressure on that one. Who would love to hear this? Because also they are going through deep, heavy times when it comes to children with specific needs. And so I'm very happy that you're so open. Now let's go to your book. The outline, what is the specific reason for writing The Home Within, a soulful memoir of self-belonging across cultures and change? What was the initial hint? What was the starting point for you?
I think there are many reasons, but if I were to choose one reason, is to be seen. It's it sounds terrible again, right? It sounds like, oh my God, what do you mean? Nobody acknowledges who you are. No, that's not the case. I think I've been seen a lot, but to really be seen owning everything about me. I have not really, I mean, of course, it's not a book like this is where I was born and it's not about that. I'm addressing specific themes of identity, belonging, reinvention, resilience, using my own life experiences. These are universal themes that I think every human being deals with, but I can use myself as a way into processing that, right? And I learned to own everything. It's radical ownership, as I mentioned earlier. The ugly part, the not so cool part, the stuff that I caused myself, the stuff that life caused onto me, and then be seen as a whole. And I hope through that I will provide others who feel that they still have to edit themselves to be seen, less guilt or less pressure to hide. I think like if I can go into the light with all these fractures, so to speak, because I think I've been broken over a gazillion times by now, then I hope other people have fewer cracks than me, to be honest.
Is that what you mentioned in your book about being a cultural chameleon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of survival, I have a very strong survival instinct, and I think I've been also reinventing myself over and over again. I've lived across different cultures. I am very adaptable. I love feeling close to different types of people. I can go and talk to the person selling a banana on the street and also go party with some of my aristocratic friends. I can do all that. And then I felt at some point lost, right? It's like being homeless in yourself, right?
So that's why you're mentioning also in the book
the home within. Yes, so it's like all...
Do you mean detached from yourself, or what do you mean by lost in the home within? What do you mean in that context?
Well, when you search for all the things you expect from, let's say, home, what do you expect from your home? But you search for the answers outside yourself. You may find different pockets of that feeling, but when you are when the world around you constantly change, you have to constantly look for it in different places all the time. So now I don't want that. It's very tiring. I'm going to look for it inside me.
Within.
So everything can keep changing. My anchor is me. And because I've accepted that too, I have radically accepted and owned every part of me. Now, even the stuff that I'm not very proud of, including the fact that I'm very hard on myself, that is me. And I know it. And because of that, I think I am anchored. And if another thing happens now, I'm like, yeah, well, I know. That's because I'm hard on myself. And actually, if I am aware of that, I can deal with it differently. And it took me time, and all these experiences to realize that maybe the reason also why I can go through all these changes culturally and in business and the ups and downs of life is also because slowly, I was building that home within me. And, we don't know. Some of the things we are doing, we are not very conscious of it. And I think consciousness is another level of work, right? And I'm working on it.
You will. We will for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Nina, who would be in what stage or what questions does somebody have to have for them to experience this as an ideal book to read? For me, to be honest, and I'm biased, heavily biased, but for me it came on the right time. And I will elaborate maybe a little bit more, but ultimately, although the podcast starts with me, it's not about me. That's one of the principles in my... so I'm a very principled guy, not a scripting guy, but a principled guy, so I will keep my promise. But for me, it resonated deeply, the home within. Because, first of all, what is the concept of home for each and every one of us? It's different, right? So what do we mean with home? What are the underlying first principles of having a home? Who would be the ideal person in what kind of stage of life that this book will resonate with?
I spoke to somebody who's read the book, and I asked the person what they think about the book and who should be the reader, because I've written it from my heart. It is a book that I'm owning, right? And it's very difficult for me to say, oh, this is for you and for you, right? First principle is the teacher will appear when the student is ready. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that it will meet you where you are. I really don't know. Who really needs it will find it. And I also believe that the book is quite multidimensional.
And universal, applicable.
Yes, and you will find yourself at different places. And this is the part that I'm mentioning because I have received also some feedback from readers. And there is one particular reader who sent me a voice message. He is gay, and he said he cried, and when in the voice note also he was crying, because there is a part in my book when I said, for you to belong, maybe you have to get used to, first of all, not belonging anywhere,
and by that everywhere.
Yes, and everywhere, and he. He's a man, I'm a woman, he is not from my race, he's not from my religion, but he identified with it so much because he felt the feeling. And I think this book is really human. It's a range, and some people might, I don't think I have one ideal reader, but if you are looking for I wouldn't say guide, but a mirror of what it's like to be human, I think it can help you feel less alone. Yeah, I think. And yeah, I think if you're in between worlds, if you feel sometimes lost, you feel trapped, you don't know how you can really own yourself, maybe it's a way into that. Yeah.
I would love to read a part which really resonated, and maybe partly also gives a little bit answer to help the listener also see if it resonates. Because I do believe the book, I believe in timing. Mm-hmm. So 10 years before, 10 years earlier, I wasn't ready to receive the depth of the book I've read. So it came in right. I was talking to friends of mine, and they were like, Michiel, this is, you could have written it yourself almost. It was like, although very unique, different backgrounds, but it is universal because the home within, that's universal, right? And the urge to belong everywhere, and is of course, and especially when you're living cross-cultural, multi-continents as you did. So it's for expats. It would be for expats. It would be for bicultural background. It would be for beautiful for so many people in different walks of life. And I think the stage in life where we're looking for, are we ready to look within? Are we ready to look within? And I have a part in the book, and it's in the chapter New Frequency, and it's the tender work of realignment. And we know with Journeys of Empowerment, we love the word realignment and alignment. So the tender work of realignment. Realignment is a rare dramatic. It unfolds in the ordinary adjustments a new place demands. The pace of mornings, the shape of meals, the way people measure time, In Germany, trains and timetables ruled the day, demanding precision. Gründlichkeit, Pünktlichkeit, no?
Ja, genau.
In France, time slowed at the table. Meals stretching into conversations that carried through the night. In the Netherlands, bluntness was honesty, and even the smallest interactions echoed with directness. For me, realignment was always a negotiating. How to soften the edges of my difference without dissolving my uniqueness. And if this resonates, dear listener, I would highly recommend to read the book, because there are so many things to discover here. But this really resonates with me.
I'm really happy to hear that. I have a friend in England. She read my book, and she's my friend, of course. And she has never left England. She has been born there. She worked there. And my experiences are so different from hers. But she has lost her husband. So she understands that she had to also find her home and herself again. So I think it will hopefully meet you where you are. And I think wherever you are in your life, it will meet you where you are, because it's quite broad. It's multi, there is a range for it. It's multidimensional. So I'm not saying that it's for everyone, because I also believe the teacher will appear when the student is ready.
Yes.
So you will find in the book where you are, I think, rather than where I am.
No. But you were already clear when before we started even the podcast, the recording, and in the previous conversation we had, but Michiel, it isn't about me. And I said, yeah, it is about you, because Journeys of Empowerment is for sure about your journey.
Yes,
and how people
it's about me, but it's not really.
No. But and the second part, which really resonated also, is the return home, chapter 15, the spiral homecoming. There's a moment in every journey when the search softens, the longing to arrive dissolves. Not because we have found the perfect place, but because we have learned to carry a resting place within ourselves. The spiral teaches us we do not return as we left. Every crossing, each heartbreak, each joy, each small act of survival reshapes us. The journey does not trace a circle, but turns inward, ever deeper, carrying us closer to the self, who has held all our versions. Beautiful. And then in the footnote, the spiral is one of nature's most recurring patterns. Fibonacci.
It's mathematics.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of answers also in nature. I love nature very much. I think if we look into nature, we will find ourselves too. And I think the spiral is, people say, oh, I was spiraling down. It's not so bad, because you go within. If you imagine that you're doing this. So this is, let's say, a pain that you have endured. And then you go like this. And then you see the pain again. But every time you turn, you see it from a different angle, right? So you kind of get deeper and deeper, and you see the same situation differently. It's the same like when you are 5, you look up and you see your parents, you see them as big. But now you are at the age you are, and you see them and they are small because they've shrunk, and you are also bigger. And it's the same subject. It's just that you change. You change every time. So allow yourself to change. Allow yourself to go through it. And the resistance to change, that causes more pain, than the actual suffering. Change itself. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I really believe that a lot of it is to do with our resistance. So I'm going with Wu Wei, which is also mentioned in my book. I go with the flow with it. I dance with it. I allow it. And if it makes me sad, which sometimes it does, then it's part of that journey. I'm supposed to be like that, but then I will get also out of the sadness, because you don't remain in the same place.
It's not permanent.
Yeah, nothing is permanent.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
We're heading towards the end of this episode. what would you love people to feel after they have read your book?
Can I borrow your word?
Of course,
Empowered.
of course, it's universal.
I think empowered and maybe also peace with life. I think we have to kind of meet life in peace. I come to you in peace, kind of feeling.
But also peace within.
Yeah, because you can't meet someone in peace if you are not. Because the world is only a reflection of what's happening inside you, right? So if you're not in peace, you can't meet the world in peace. You can't do anything in peace. You have to start with you. Everything starts with you. So within is without.
So empowered, peace.
Empowered, peace.
Mirrored, maybe. I don't know. For me, it was a big mirror.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think, if you recognize yourself in it or it resonates with you, you might see it as a mirror. But I also hope, I don't know how to say this without sounding, I think there's so much goodness. There's so much goodness in life. Yeah, I hope, the book may not say it in that form, but there is so much goodness in life. No matter how bad things can go. There's so much goodness in life. And I hope people realize that. And because, you won't be here otherwise, right?
True that.
Yeah.
And I would love to thank you for our conversation. And I would say, order the book and go through it, because we will put it in the show notes for sure. I'm a big fan. I'm a biased fan. But biased for a reason. So let me be clear, order this book, because there's so much depth within it. It's, for me, it became a universal Bible. As you can see, a lot of notes in it and a lot of... I
am touched.
It was really...
Oh, thank you.
At the right time. So thank you very much for being here and for you being you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and for being present with this conversation. If something in this episode stayed with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need it right now. And if you choose to subscribe or leave a short review, you help these conversations reach others who are still reaching for clarity, direction, and alignment. If you're a founder sensing that your work no longer reflects who you are becoming, there's a room to pause. A grounded space to look at what energizes you, what drains you, and what may be ready to evolve. You can explore that at journeysofempowerment.com and see if it feels aligned. That's how the circle widens, quietly, one listener at a time. Keep going, keep becoming you.